Thank you for taking some time out to talk with me today, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Where you at?
I am out here in beautiful Eastern Kentucky, about an hour away from Lexington, about 2.5 from Louisville. Um, last
Uh-huh.
last time I saw you was at the and saw you in Kentucky was at the Yum Center with Def Leppard and Styx. So that was what, maybe 2015.
What town was that in?
That was in Louisville at the Yum Center, the big Yum Center down
Okay.
there in Louisville. So you are listening to and/or watching The Rocker Life, and I'm here with a man who doesn't need much of an introduction, Mr. Brian Wheat from Tesla. And it's good to see you today, Brian. How are you, man?
Well, I'm just getting ready for my Santa Claus gig.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I hear that can be a lucrative gig at certain times of the year,
Yeah, in December you can make a few extra bucks,
Yeah. Well, of course, I appreciate you coming by The Rocker Life today, and we're going to be talking about your book, Son of a Milkman. And I got to tell you, man, first off, this book, if you're anyone who's listening is looking for a rock and roll autobiography, I really think your book checks all the boxes. You've got internal conflict, hookers, drugs, backstage brawls, selling millions of records, big tours. You run the gamut. Not and not to mention, man, something I wanted to get into first was just the way that you've hung yourself out there and opened up about your own life, which I think is very respectable. And the first thing I wanted to really find out was, since the release of the book in December of 20, and here we are in March of 21, what has the response been like for you?
Oh, it's been very good.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. The response has been really good, and people, have been enjoying it. I'm not seeing a lot of negative comments at all. It's been pretty positive, which is always kind of nice when you put something out and actually people, they get what you were trying to do, which is good.
It was really in discussing your autoimmune disease that you reference in the book. Prednisone, unfortunately, was a big part of my life too, and has caused me some of the same struggles that you've expressed. I was hospitalized as a kid, for bronchial issues at the ages of 5 and 8. And that prednisone thing has really followed me to some extent all the way up through now, kept me out of the military and all kinds of stuff. So what was it like for you you seem like a very straightforward guy. What was it like for you to divulge some of those pieces of information that for a lot of people could be considered, very private and wouldn't want to talk about?
Well, they are pretty private, but I was kind of, when I was approached about talking about those things in the book, I felt that if it helped somebody, me talking about it helped somebody who's suffering from the same kind of issues, whether it be autoimmune or anxiety and depression or,
Yeah.
Bulimia or image, problems, weight, whatever, then I was happy to do it.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll talk about it if I feel it's because I feel maybe it'll help somebody. So once I got that, wrapped my head around that, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool attitude to have, especially in light of what we've all been through in some shape or form in the last year or so. What have
Yeah.
what have people been expressing to you? Maybe has been some of the most surprising stuff that they've come across in your story.
Uh, well, some people said you did drugs. Yeah, I did lots of them, and I liked them too. Um, that was one thing that people kind of they thought. I think they thought we were squeaky clean kind of guys, but we had our problems with drug and substance abuse. Um, I think the fact that I said that I was bulimic for a while kind of
Yeah.
really took some people by surprise because they think that mostly is exclusive to women.
Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, I knew lots of people that were on that same diet, if you will, at that
Yeah.
time in the 80s. So those things.
You know, I can't, just on that note, and then I'll move on. I can't imagine what kind of pressure you guys must have been under across the board in that day and age, because now I was born in 1980. I became familiar with Tesla at around, I'm going to say between 8 and 9 years old. And, but just being a music fan at a young age and picking up the magazines and buying the albums, it was even clear to me at that age, I could even perceive back then that looks were something that obviously was important to someone. Now, at that age, I couldn't have possibly known the inner workings of the music business, but I can't help but think that there was a lot of pressure, just in general.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of pressure to, maintain a certain image, because the whole time it was image driven,
Yeah.
especially with MTV at that point in time. And you had a lot of magazines. So the goal was to be in the magazines and be on MTV, because that sold records at the time.
Yeah. And here we sit in 2021. To me, it's still fascinating to think about that for a part of my youth and for part of your career, MTV was so pivotal to you as an artist and professionally, and to me as a fan and from an entertainment point of view. It was so video driven, and now we have MTV existing in a format that really, now I've been told by some that they're slowly going back to doing some more videos, but it's so largely void of music. And
I wasn't even aware that it was still around. And someone pointed that out to me the other day, that
yeah,
it's mostly like reality TV shows and stuff like that.
yeah,
They don't really play videos. I think anyone does. I think everything's on YouTube.
yeah.
You gotta go looking for it. So yeah, the music industry has definitely changed over the years.
Yeah, that's a real good segue, actually, because I had noted here that, although the book, I think personally, has fantastic insight into the behind the scenes of not only Tesla but the music business in general. I would say personally, I'm a pretty positive guy, and I love an underdog story because I feel like it's something I can relate to. I see I see your life in so many ways, and the story that you communicated in the book. I see your life in so many ways, as an underdog who was really determined to have this success in the music industry come hell or high water. And you did it in the face of a lot of obstacles. And I don't want to give away too many obstacles because certainly that's what the book is there for. But it tends to make me think that, my personal takeaway from the book overall felt that if, hey, you sharing your story makes me think if Brian Wheat is able to conquer so many challenges and then still hit those goals and have that life that he wants to, that means for me, what goals I have in life, I can do the same thing. Would you say
Well,
that's
absolutely.
a fair takeaway?
That's the whole moral of the book. The whole
Yeah.
moral of the story is that, we all have obstacles in life, and what makes us is what we do to get through them, around them, over them, blow them up, whatever,
Yeah.
to achieve what it is we want to achieve in life. Sitting around and complaining don't do shit for nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a powerful point. You really can't get a positive out of a negative, right? So one of my kids came up to me the other day and asked me something, and I said, "You're learning math, right? And you're learning multiplication." And he said, "Yeah." And I said, what's a negative times a positive?" And he's like, "That's a negative." And I was like, "Exactly." It's like if you leave the negativity in the equation, you're gonna have a real tough time getting the positive result out of it. So
No. Yeah,
there's
that's a good point.
well, I wanted to, there's a question that, and I'll be the first to, full disclosure, this is a tad self-indulgent, but it's also fair in that I've heard this point made in several Tesla interviews over the years, and people just offering up commentary, whether it be on Tesla or the Hysteria tour. And of course, you talk about the Hysteria tour in the book. The one question that has always lingered with me about that tour, And of course, I will just take a moment to note, obviously Joe Elliott does a great forward in your book, and you guys go on to talk about the relationship you've had. But in reference to the Hysteria tour, discuss the in the round stage for Hysteria, because the thing that always pops out to me is, after I've heard other people point it out, is that when that tour started, it's well known for the in the round stage. You can go back and look at the Pour Some Sugar on Me or Armageddon videos.
Stage was in the middle of the arena. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, it stands out to me, would have been the first ones to be on that stage because you were opening the shows. So
that's true.
Okay. So what I got to know, man, what was that like to be the first one on the stage, as the guys from Def Leppard haven't performed on this? I mean, obviously there's sound checks and things like that, but.
Well, yeah, they had, a week of rehearsal on that stage. I think we got like, a day or half a day.
Right.
You just went for it, man.
Yeah.
You got up there and it was different. It was different than playing to one end. So you just, you start going, well, I got 4 fronts of the stage. So you would go over there and do your little thing, and then go over there and do your thing, and go over there and do your thing, and go over there and do your thing. And kind of like, if you were up on the drum riser, you were in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like east, west, north, south. You had 4 little shows going on at one time simultaneously.
So it's like if you had a Fitbit back in 1987, like you could get all your steps in that opening slot.
Yeah. I mean, if you see me back then, I was 145 pounds, dude. I was a skinny little bastard.
Well, it just, looking at that thing and going back and looking at the videos, I've always wondered what was it, because fast forwarding to, like you mentioned, you had the sound checks, they had rehearsals, you had rehearsals, but when you came off the first time, was it one of those things where Joe and Phil and Rick are standing there going, okay, what was it like out there in front of the fans? How were they taken to it? Was it,
No, man, they were, while we were playing, they were in their dressing room getting dressed.
Yeah.
And, we were off, they were getting ready to come on. And no, they, that was never mentioned.
I guess for me, my thought would have been trying to think of it myself. If I was the one going to have to work a stage with all those sides and all those steps and ramps and all that stuff, I would be so concerned about, am I going to trip over one of those steps? Am I going to wipe out somewhere and kill myself? Am I going to, and what are the people going to be like, because it's such an unusual setup for a show. But I had to ask that question because for so long, the point has been made that in a live environment, Tesla was the first band on that stage, not Def Leppard, even though it was a Def Leppard concept for the Hysteria tour. And I think they even repeated it on Adrenalize, but thank you for for indulging me in that, because I've always kind of wanted to know that. Speaking of tours, after all these tours, all right, so through all of the years, which one would you say holds a special place for you as far as to think?
Def Leppard.
Okay.
Def Leppard.
Yeah, tell me more about that. So just any one particular one, or just all of them together, just because of the relationship?
All of them, just because the relationship we have with Def Leppard. I mean, look, when we go on tour with any band where we're supporting or special guests, no one has treated us better than Def Leppard. Ever.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Everyone else is great, but Def Leppard is just better. We have this special kind of thing with them, and they've always treated us excellent, above and beyond what they should do.
Is that of the ones that you have shared with Def Leppard, and that's really cool, by the way, that you've had that experience, because it's got to really add to the experience knowing that you have such great rapport with those guys. In the book, as I mentioned, you talk about the mentor kind of relationship that you've had with Joe Elliott and how he's played that role in your life, which I thought was very interesting and very cool. Is there one of those from Hysteria all the way up until the most recent tour that you finished with them that jumped out at you as just firing on all cylinders, shows were going great, best times backstage, or just all of them?
All of them.
Yeah.
Any time. I mean, it started off that way, and that way 30 years later, we're still, it's the same. They're the same guys they always were. They never changed, which is great because they've had tremendous success, and they're still the same guys we met in 1987.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, one thing that I have not heard in as you've made the rounds for the book, I've not heard anyone forward any questions from fans. So I thought it would be cool if we just kind of, I've got a thing here called the Rockers Forum. Thought we would step quickly into the Rockers Forum and just give you a couple questions directly from fans and give them an answer from the man himself. So first up in the Rockers Forum, this question comes from Paul. Paul says, or asks rather, Little Suzy is one of my favorite Tesla tunes. Whose idea was it to cover the song?
Ronnie Montrose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were doing a demo with Ronnie Montrose, one of the first demos we did. And he brought Little Suzy to us. And it was his idea to cover the song. And that song went through a few changes before we kind of got it to the version it is that on Mechanical Resonance.
Yeah.
At first, it was this really kind of light pop song. And then it was actually Max Norman that turned it into the kind of arrangement that it is now, Max, from, doing Ozzy Osbourne and stuff. So Ronnie Montrose brought us this.
That's now that I'm thinking back on it, I do believe you referenced that in the book, or at least referenced the song and the fact that it was a cover. Well, hey man, when Ronnie Montrose makes a suggestion, like it's got to get your ears perked.
No. He we always had a joke about that. Ronnie always said we owed him a flat screen TV for bringing us Little Suzy. So in the end, we took him a flat screen TV, and that story's in the book as well.
Yeah. Very, very cool story. I remember that now. Very touching story.
Another question there?
I sure do. Yeah, this one comes from Michael. Which Tesla album so far do you think best defines your body of work? And do you have a personal favorite that might be different?
I think probably Psychotic Supper best defines Tesla, and that's probably my favorite one.
Okay. And then lastly, that's from Michael. Lastly, from Vinny. Vinny wanted to know, he says, Love Song was one of the first I learned to play on guitar. How did the classical guitar style intro come about in the song?
Frank Cannon.
So that was 100% Frank.
That was 100% Frank. I mean, he had done something similar on Little Suzy. It had an acoustic intro. So his Love Song, he wanted to do the same kind of thing. And he put together that beautiful intro that's there, but that was all Frank.
Yeah, that's really cool. I thought that was one of the things that made the song really cool as well. So, do you have time to do a quick lightning round, or would you want me to bump forward?
Yeah, no, we'll go.
Okay. So what we'll do here, this is called the Speed of Sound lightning round. I'm just going to give you a name, phrase, or title, and you can just give me a quick reaction, and we'll jet through those real quick. So here we go. First up, great radio controversy.
Fun album to make.
Ross Halfin.
Insane.
5-man acoustical jam.
Cheapest record we ever made.
Awesome. Love Song.
Great song.
You just touched on this one, but Psychotic Supper.
Great album.
Paul McCartney.
God created him on the 8th day.
Frank Hannon.
My soul brother.
Shock.
Misunderstood.
Not by me, man. I love it. Just for the record. Phil Collin.
Brother.
Awesome. Well, hey, so I'll start the wind down here for you. What's next for Brian Wheaton? What's next for Tesla?
I'm going to keep promoting this book. When the book's over, I'm going to put out my Soul Motor stuff, which is my other band. And then hopefully when that's done, the gates will have opened up and Tesla will be allowed to play again along with every other band in the world. And we'll resume where we left off a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So that's it, you know. Another book, another Tesla tour, another Tesla record. And, you know, I'll continue painting, you know.
And the show goes on.
Hopefully get back to my house in Italy for some vacation time. Just, you know, the show must go on, like Freddie Mercury said.
That's it. Well, hey, man, we'll end on something fun here. Favorite Paul McCartney bass line?
Woo!
I hope I didn't piss you off asking you that.
No, it's so tough. I mean,
yeah,
you know, probably one of the most memorable ones is probably Come Together, but you know, then you got the bass line in Something. You got the bass line in Silly Love Songs, which is really pretty. I mean, for kind of a stupid song, the bass line is better than the song. That bass line went to #1, you know, bum 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 bum. Probably, I mean, that's probably the most memorable. I mean, there's so many. I mean, he's such a great bass player.
Well, that was the third thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning. We were talking about things we had in common. Is I'm the Paul McCartney guy amongst all my friends. I got a couple that are diehard John Lennon.
Yeah, it's all about Paul, man.
Yeah, that's me. That's me too, buddy.
You know, I became friends with Jeff Emmerich, the Beatles engineer.
Yeah,
who did Revolver through Abbey Road, and you know, he died a couple years ago, but he says quite honestly, you know, it was Paul.
Yeah.
You know, he said John was kind of could be a nasty person at times, and Paul was the driving force of that band.
Well, man, I want to be respectful of your time, and just want to tell you thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to come on and be.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure, buddy. It's my pleasure.
And I just want to say,
when I see you next time, I won't have this crazy beard, but I said I'm not going to shave or dye my hair or cut my hair until they let us play again. And this is what happens when you get into COVID. You know, I'm all gray looking, and you know. But hey, man,
it's interesting. COVID is putting some gray on me, and taking away what could have turned gray. So you know, it's really. But
I know it's a bit like Groundhog Day, isn't it?
It really kind of is. And then I just wanted to say for myself, man, thank you so much for just, you know, for me personally, 30 years of great albums that you've been putting out. And I've always enjoyed Tesla music, and, you know, Shock is not understood by me, man. I love that album. So congratulations on Shock.
Yeah, that unfortunately, that record was, you know, some people loved it and a lot of people slammed it, and it was misunderstood. You know, it's just, you can't make the same record over and over and over again. And we tried something different, and I really thought the record was great. So, but you know, what do I know? I'm only the guy in the band. You know,
I thought you point out in the book that you are, if you were to compare you and Frank, you said you're a production guy. Frank is a organics kind of guy, and I thought that was an interesting point. And I will say on Shock, I was blown away, like just completely blown away by the production on that album. And I'm sure that was a combination of both you and Phil working together. But
yeah, no, it was. I mean, it was. You know, me and Phil had, you know, obviously Phil produced it, but I had a lot to do with it. I engineered most of it.
Yeah.
You know, I love the record.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's one that maybe one day people will go back to and go, oh, you know what? We didn't really quite get that one.